Why look at the glass half empty when you can have the full cup? Freshly brewed drama delivered straight to you so that you can sip comfortably. How many more tea puns can I add into this intro? Because remember, if you're not sipping on the full cup, you're only getting half the story. Hi guys, what is up? What is good? What is Gucci? And welcome to the full cup. I hope you enjoyed that little cameo. My daughter is always asking me what it is that I'm doing, so I decided to show her what it is that I do. Call it Take Your Kid to Work Day. So today we have another full cup episode where I'm going to be bringing you all of the latest drama and tea that I haven't been able to get to throughout the week. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about four main people. We're going to be talking about Ethan, Klein, and
Later.
She actually said Keemstar, but it came out Meanstar, and I'm not going to correct her. We're going to be talking about the absolute carnage it is that they caused on social media recently, as well as the drama between and all of the things it is that Alex James had to say about her.
Oh no.
So if that sounds like your cup of tea, sit down, chillax, relax, get all of your snacks as we get into today's drama. Before we get into all of that drama, I do have to give a massive shout out to my brand, Dramatic Boutique, that is currently having a bog off sale that is buy one, get one free on all of our eyelashes. All of our lashes are faux mink synthetic fibre and are 100% vegan and cruelty free. Currently, we have 5 styles to choose from. Fionn, she is a lightweight, rounded fanned lash for people who want a natural day to night glamour. Morgan, she's long and strong and rounded and fanned for people who want to give that gorgeous day-to-day look. Maggie, she is a thick queen who is full and glamorous for people who want a bit of sass in their everyday life. Shannon, she is a showstopper, thick, fanned, lightweight, rounded lash for people who really want to show the F out. And then we have Paige. She's a wispy girl with a thick band and a gradual fanned appearance that will add the perfect finishing touch to any cat eye look. If you go down to www.dramaticboutique.com, there is no coupon code or discount code needed. You just go straight over to checkout with your 2 eyelashes and you will get buy one, get one free. Besides all of that, we also have our lip glosses as well as the No More Nudes palette. So if you're interested in purchasing anything, please do not hesitate to go over to www.dramaticboutique.com, because here we're all about putting the drama in our lashes and not in our lives. Thank you guys so much for all of your continued support of my brand, and let's get straight into the video. Okay, so let's start by talking about Trisha Paytas, Ethan Klein, as well as Keemstar, and all of the drama is that they've caused in the past couple of days across social media. It has been an absolute shit show. So to give you guys a bit of a backstory as to what's going on, there has been a long-standing beef that has occurred between Ethan Klein and Keemstar that has literally been going on, honestly, about 4 years at this point. And as you guys know, Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas had a podcast together called Frenemies that has recently ended and has been replaced by Families, and Trisha Paytas has gone on to do their own podcast on their own channel called Enemies. Trisha Paytas and Ethan Klein are no longer friends and aren't speaking since the end of the podcast, despite Trisha Paytas being engaged to his wife Hila's brother Moses. So basically, this drama started about a week ago when Trisha Paytas posted episode 3 of Enemies, where they speak about Keemstar, FaZe Banks and Anna Campbell. And in this episode, they speak about the Mom's Basement podcast, where Keemstar and FaZe Banks were talking about Keemstar's latest girlfriend, who happens to be a 20-year-old woman. Trisha had a problem with Keemstar dating this 20-year-old woman because they believe that Keemstar is significantly older than this young lady, as he is 19 years her senior. Trisha also had an issue with the way that FaZe Banks was speaking about Keemstar's girlfriend, saying that Keemstar had some quote-unquote fresh cheeks to clap. Trisha Paytas also cites the power dynamic that there is between Keemstar and his most latest girlfriend, as she came to Keemstar as a fan at a fan meetup. So essentially, Trisha believes that she was already at an impressionable state when she met Keemstar. Trisha Paytas also goes on to say that in their personal experience dating older guys at a younger age, it was not good for their mental health at all, and they really believe that relationships with such a huge age gaps are gross. Now, Keemstar did take to his Twitter and respond to Trisha Paytas, where he said, just because you had a traumatic experience dating somebody much older doesn't mean that that's the experience that my girlfriend is going to have. He also goes on to say that his girlfriend is of age and he isn't breaking any laws, and if they really like each other, honestly, it's nobody's business. This turned into an even huger drama when Klein decided to discuss what Trisha Paytas had said about Keemstar in a H3H3 podcast when Keemstar responded publicly to Trisha Paytas. It's alleged that this podcast is what resulted in Klein receiving a strike on his channel, and now that Klein has a strike on his channel, he won't be able to post, I think it is either for 1 week or 2 weeks on the H3H3 podcast channel. Keemstar gloated about this situation on social media, which then started a back and forth on Twitter between Klein and Keemstar. Trisha Paytas then went on to make another Enemies podcast a few days later, talking about H3H3 and Keemstar. In that episode, Trisha Paytas basically talks about Klein and Keemstar's relationship and says that the hatred between them is a lot meaner and the beef between them is a lot deeper. And I imagine that due to Trisha Paytas' empathy towards Keemstar in relation to his beef with Klein, that would have been the catalyst for how Trisha Paytas was invited onto Mom's Basement. Now I know what you're thinking. Trisha Paytas didn't go onto Mom's Basement. I mean, Keemstar has offered them to go onto Drama Alert numerous amount of times, and they have said no under every single circumstance. So going onto Mom's Basement at this point just doesn't make sense. Well, when I tell you that all hell broke loose on social media when Keemstar posted a photograph of himself as well as FaZe Banks and Trisha Paytas at the Mom's Basement studio. Klein responded to the news of Trisha Paytas appearing on Mom's Basement by saying, "I'm not even gonna front or try and be funny, this just really makes me sad," before making a TikTok video basically saying the same. Trisha Paytas literally lost their shit because of the response that they were getting from Klein's fan base for quote unquote turning her back on Ethan and stabbing him in the back. This is what Trisha Paytas had to say on TikTok.
My going on Mom's Basement was not attacking Ethan. I had my own issue with Keemstar. I made the first video towards Keemstar. Ethan inserted himself in it and his channel got banned. Keem did not do the strike on his channel. Once again, me going on another person's podcast does not mean I'm pro them. I like to have discussions with people, especially about people I disagree with. I like to have open discussions. I like to clear air. Again, that's how I met Ethan, was when he did a video trashing me. I tried to go on Gabby's podcast to make some sort of peace. I have my own issues with Keem that I can talk about. Ethan lied to his huge fan base about me wanting to fire crew when that did not happen. He admitted it didn't happen. He screenshotted my private text and sent him to his crew to villainify me, to make me look awful. If you want to talk about her and people doing stuff out of spite, this Trisha Paytas for Gabby Hanna was the first families after our frenemies ended. In the podcast, they talk about me being the same as Gabby Hanna. This was the most triggering shit for me at the time. I met Ethan. I went on his podcast for the first time after he did a video saying that I looked like a WWE wrestler about to slam down, that I looked like a corpse sitting in my casket. And I still went on his podcast because I believe in having healthy debates with people, discussions, figuring out who this person is. And at the end of the day, it's like my job. It's what I do. I talk to people. I went on Gabby Hanna's podcast after she told my boyfriend at the time that I had herpes. And I went on there because I really genuinely wanted to know if she was sorry. She cut a lot of that out. I was like, do you have any remorse about that? Like, don't you see that I was trying to have this discussion about like how she couldn't see that was like the most disturbing thing someone can do. You think I go on Keemstar's podcast and I'm just like, I love you. You are so, you don't think I call him out on this shit? FaZe himself was there. I was like, dude, that's toxic. There's toxic shit. There's toxic shit he's done. I don't shy away from debate and discussion. Ethan hasn't talked to me. We have not talked personally since Frenemies ended. Ethan continues to let people hate on me over lies he told in his videos. I told Keemstar straight up, like, I'm not pro Keem. I said, I'm more team Ethan. I'm not pro Keem. And we're not going to be friends after this. Like, I say that on the podcast. Like, it benefits people a lot more to have, you know what, when Ethan was going to debate Steven Crowder, I was so excited about it because I love when people can have debates and discussions and like opposite opinions. That's why I like people like The View and people like Frenemies, because we were opposites that had different opinions. Logan and KSI did a podcast together and got 10 million views. Me and Gabby did a podcast together and it was her most viewed pod. I think it's healthy to sit down and talk to a person. especially Keem and Ethan's beef, it's becoming like, it's always became more serious. They lost sponsors last summer. This summer, they're like, you know, Ethan got a strike. Like, I wish Ethan and Keemstar could like talk, because I think it would help a lot. But I've always gone on people's podcasts. I need to stay relevant. That's how my job has worked. I've gone on everyone's podcast, and I'll go on Jeff Wittick's. Ethan himself has said that he would have James Charles on his podcast. Okay, you're gonna have James Charles, who's an actual P word, but you can't have a discussion with Keemstar? Like I remember everybody was against having Jeff Wittick on Frenemies, and I was like, no, we should have a discussion. Like, that is the whole point. You're gonna call out people, you're gonna have issues with people, like, have a discussion, see where this person is coming from. People flip it, oh, if he had David Dobrik, Jason, I hope he does. Like, I have those discussions with those people. I think that's a huge thing. It's just crazy how quick people judge. Like, I am now pro Keemstar. Like, whenever I ever said that, like, what? Keemstar is very nice in person, the way Ethan was very nice to me in person the first time I met him, you know? Like, I called out gross behavior, the tweeting the pictures. I was like, that is gross behavior. Like, why did you do that? You don't make some looks. Like, I call it out. We did our final episode of Frenemies to have, like, closure and peace. And then when he didn't air it, I was like, wow, you're going to air my breakdowns, but you can't air one thing that you did wrong? Like, ugh. I have animosity in me still for Ethan, the way I do with David and Jason. Why? Because they can't admit they did something wrong. Like, I admit I'm in the wrong, but Ethan wasn't perfect in the situation. Neither was David and Jason, and I hang on to that because they don't think they did anything wrong, and they're happy to let people hate on me for something that just wasn't true. He admitted in that final episode that he screenshotted my text and sent them to the crew, and that's where this all thing started, and that he had made some mistakes, but he can never show that. He can never prove that, and he has to blame other people, and it's just like, and I will always hang on to that resentment. If someone can just admit that there was some wrongdoing, there's some closure, there's some peace, I can move on. And like, that's why I'm still talking about David and Jason to this day, because they can't admit it. I don't have that closure. And it's not even closure. It's just taking accountability when someone can't admit their wrongdoings or that they lied about something. Or it just frustrates me to no end. So while I have resentment towards Ethan in that last episode and him just like really not giving a shit that I'm getting so much hate, and the same thing with he did with my sister uploading her TikTok when she deleted it, like, I do have resentment for that. Not everything I do is about him. It's long gone. The way he inserted himself into me and Keemstar's drama, being like they're going against each other, like inserting it into our thing, like he did that to himself. You know, so naturally it's going to be brought up because he did a video about it, and that's the video that got removed or whatever. My initial video about Keemstar had nothing to do with Ethan. I didn't mention Ethan in it. He was on a Twitch saying that he knew how much I made on all my websites and stuff, and how this other girl was making way more than me. He's constantly taking jabs at me. His parents talking about my weight. His parents saying I'm just like Gabby Hanna, when he knows how triggering that is to me when I begged him not to put, and he puts me in the same freaking thumbnail. And then he did it again. He's been complaining that I talk about him, but then he did it again a week ago, putting my name and picture in the thumbnail. It's the hypocrisy for me. I think about this. Ethan had no problem airing 3 of my mental breakdowns where I literally lost my shit and went out with that door. He had no problem. Why? Because I was in the wrong. I was 100% in the wrong of those. And up until the last episode, yeah, I acted shitty. But then that final episode where we're talking peaceful, and he admit he did some shit, and that he straight up lied, because I had him, we sat there, I recorded the whole thing because I know people fucking edit shit, and I was like, find me this, and he was searching, he was trying to find where I said I wouldn't show up if Dan was there. I was trying to see where it was, like, it didn't, and like, it just sucks, because he's like, you know what, yeah, I fucked up too, and it's like, that's all like I would have needed to hear publicly, but I'm still getting bashed for it. I'm still all this stuff. Even now, me going on a podcast has nothing to do with Ethan. I've talked about the situation on other podcasts, but because it's Keemstar, it's like, oh, like, this makes me sad. I've been a YouTuber 15 years. I've been around before everybody. This is how I stay relevant. This is what I do. I talk to people. I have discussions. So I started this. I had an issue with Keem and his relationship because it triggered something in me. I started this video. It was between me and Keemstar. So when Keem's like, will you go on my podcast the same way? Ethan had asked me when we had beef the same way. Gabby Hanna had asked me when we had beef. I said yes. I would go on Jeff's. I would go on David's. I would go on anybody that I've had issues with, because it can go bad. It can go up. I just want to have discussions. I think it's what people should do. Because I truly think people do change. And I think Ethan is the prime example of that. He did a video. The first video he ever did about me was making fun of me, Tana, Nikita, saying they look like Twinkies, whales, all this stuff like that. And I do believe he's changed. And you know what? I'm going to take credit for that. I don't think He was talking about Lana Rhodes' peanut, all this stuff, just like degrading women based off their looks, right? And he's not like that anymore. And I truly do believe he's changed. And I'm going to give myself a little credit because I went on that podcast. We did become friends. We had a whole podcast together. And I think he grew and changed. And I think that's the beauty of having discussions with people. I don't care how many people are like, just get over it, get over it. I don't have to get over shit. I don't have to get over shit, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't. This is something that eats at me daily. Not just the hate comments, not just thing, but that like the way he presented me at the end, and then just he corrected it at the final episode and then just decided, no, we're going to scrap it because blaming other people once again, never him taking like just being like that he's a coward. But this is just another gross attempt at making something about him when it's not. We had a shitty ending, but I'm not going on all these podcasts to spite him. I did this before him. I talked about whoever I want to talk about, whoever is affecting me, whatever's going on. Frenemies was a huge thing. Frenemies ending is a huge thing. Like, why can't I have a platform to talk? You talked all you wanted about me. Like, I'm not allowed to talk. And again, I had issues with Keemstar. I've called out my issues with Keemstar. We're not best friends. Like, what? People haven't even seen this episode where Keemstar even admit that he's been ignorant about mental health. We have these conversations on it. Damn, people need to. Furthermore, there's a second co-host, FaZe Banks, who I've been brutal to, brutal back to me. I misspoke on him, and I wanted to clear that air too. This is, believe it or not, like I do have a life outside of Ethan, outside of Frenemies. I had a career before. I'm gonna have a career after. Like, I've been here long enough. I've gone through Shane and Jeffrey and David and Ethan. Like, there'll be another fandom that, you know, I'm gonna be involved in. Like, that's just what I do. That's how I do. I think it's smart. Whatever. But I'm my own person. And I had my own words about FaZe and misspeaking, and I wanted to clear air with him. There was my own stuff I had to get off my chest between me and FaZe. That had nothing to do with Ethan. So it's like, why am I not allowed to do that? Why am I not allowed to do that? It's just the double standard of, like, I'm shaking. It's just such a double standard. It's just, I'm so sick of it. The manipulation, trying to make me look like I'm this horrible person. He's the victim. It's just, I'm over it. I think Ethan and Keemstar should have a discussion. Even if the hate is real or not. I don't know. I've never got into it with Ethan. We never talked about it on a personal level off camera. Like, if he actually hates him, if it's just for show because he's doing the puppet, he's poking the bear and stuff too. So I don't know if it's just for show, they like the beef, or if it's real. I don't know. Either way, Keem said today that he would be open to talk to Ethan, and they should do it the same way he did the Steven Crowder one. Mine is the bait and switch. But like, they both film it. Whether that's just for, you know, having the proof or, you know, the clout, whatever it is. But having discussions with someone that you've like, just don't see eye to eye with, that you think is an awful person, that's big on the plot. Like, it's important, especially now. Do you want to keep losing sponsors? Do you want to keep having strikes on the channel? Like, just clear the air. You don't have to agree with someone. You don't have to like the person. I just don't understand why you can't have a discussion with a person without people being like, oh my gosh, this is awful. It makes no sense to me. I think discussions are important, and if you're gonna call out someone and their shitty behavior and their poor behavior, talk to them like we did with Jeff, right? And I think it did get through to Jeff. I mean, he deleted videos. Like, it does get through to people, and maybe it doesn't. Whatever. Try. If you're gonna call someone out and you're gonna disagree with them so vehemently, like, talk to them. I've always been open to discussion. I went back to talk with Ethan to like get closure, to get peace. I didn't force him to. He had asked me to do it for the merch, but when the merch sold out or whatever, I don't know. It like he just pulled the plug. I didn't force him to. I didn't ask. He asked me. I'll continue to go on other people's podcasts. I have nothing to do with Ethan. This is all my stuff. I have my own person. I am my own person with my own issues. I call people out. I'm not going to cower and be like, I'm not going to talk to them, or I'm going to ignore them or block them. Like, I'm, you know, if I'm dealing with shit, yeah, I'm dealing with shit, but I'm in a place mentally where I can talk about tough issues and issues that matter to me. And I'll have those debates, and I'll continue to, and it's about me. It's about me. I'm not reading any comments online because, like, the internet is just literally so stupid on so many levels. Like, it is stupid. At the end of the day, it is stupid. But I take pride in not cowering away from people I have disagreements with, people that don't like me. Like, I will always talk to, confront respectfully people that I have issues with, and I call it out. I don't know why people haven't even heard the episode and like, this is awful. It's like, you haven't even heard it. Like, I saw the hate comments going on. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of backlash. I'm not afraid of looking stupid or dumb or being caught up in something. Like, if it is what it is, that's what it is. The first ever H3 podcast, there was many times I looked stupid and dumb and called out, and it was embarrassing. But I went back, and you know what? That's what you do. That's a podcast. That's growth. That's maturity. That's entertainment. He can reach out and talk to me. He has my number if he wants, but he's using me as clickbait and titles and thumbnails still. So what? I don't know. I wore Frenemies merch on the podcast because I said on the podcast that I wore Team Ethan than pro Keem. Like, people just don't understand. Like, oh my God, that's so disrespectful. I love Frenemies. I love what we did. I still stand by it. Like, it was my way of being like, yo, I'm not taking sides, okay? I asked the questions. I was like, oh my God, did you do this? Like, I was asking questions about the situation. I didn't go on there just to be like, I love you, Keemstar. Like, what? And now I'm turning and I'm getting all this hate because of Ethan's tweet and stuff like that. And it's like, I didn't even do anything. The podcast isn't even out yet. I don't want to drag this out. I don't, but I'm sorry. There is still so much resentment and hurt I have from being completely trashed by Ethan on that episode he did right after. And in the matter of 48 hours, he just completely annihilated my character in so many ways. He was totally fine with me, but then just decided to do an absolute hit piece on me. When in reality, he was the one who sent our private conversations to his entire staff the night before we were supposed to film again. And of course they wouldn't want to film with me. Like, why would you send our private conversations to your whole staff? Like, he did that. He admitted that on the last episode of the podcast. I have a lot of bad feelings about that. It does not sit well with me. This is all very fresh. This is something that consumes me on the daily. It hurts me so much and it eats at me so big to be like, just to be lied on. And for everyone being like, how are you never wrong? I'm always in the wrong. I'm always apologizing. I do a lot of wrong shit. I just wish other people could admit the same. Do you know how sad I was that Frenemies was over? Do you know how many times I quit Frenemies and then we film again Monday? Everyone still blames me for Frenemies being over. When in reality, when Ethan out of his own mouth on that last episode said, yeah, like I kind of fucked up, like I fucked it up. Because he sent private messages between us to his crew, which obviously they're going to have some type of feeling about. Like, why wouldn't you? But those were meant for me and Ethan. And he showed it to the entire crew, thus resulting in people not wanting. I was ready to film the next day. I was ready to do it. Thus him telling me like, oh, don't come film. Like, let's just take a couple days to cool off. Like all this stuff. When he was the one manipulating the situation, lying about the situation, then lying to the audience saying I wanted the entire crew fired. It still rips me up. It still tears me up so much. And the fact that he admitted it, but because it makes him just a tiny bit guilty in an equal part of Frenemies ending, it's just like, and then this trying to just sending hate my way for literally no reason because no one's even heard the fucking podcast yet. I don't care. He has a way bigger fan base, a way louder fan base. They send me hate. They continue to send me hate. They continue to harass my sister. My sister's not even on social media anymore. She's not on TikTok. She's not anywhere because she made a stupid TikTok, deleted it right away, but now it lives on forever on the H3 podcast channel and the highlights. Under the title, like Trisha's sister, whatever. She took it down. She had remorse. She was sorry. And you're still blasting that. Like, the fans are so nasty and so brutal. They run my sister off social media. It's the worst. It's the most negative, toxic fan base. And it flipped in the matter of 24 hours. And now the tweet again. This makes me sad. You haven't even seen the podcast. You don't even know what I said. Like, it's not even out. This isn't a personal attack. I'm my own person. And now I'm getting so much hate again. It's just, that to me is toxic bullying, harassment, taking use of your fan base. Like, you want me out of your life. Like, stop talking about me. Stop putting me as the thumbnail, the title, the clickbait. Don't say, oh, I'm dragging this on and talking about when you're doing it too. I'm so frustrated and it's just so annoying. I kind of don't even care anymore. I'm just logging off. I just don't care. I'm logging off for the day. I don't care.
Clearly, Trisha Paytas didn't log off straight away because they were able to see the tweets that Ethan's mom, Donna, had posted under Ethan's tweet. This is what Donna had to say. Can't wait to go to her wedding. Not. Then somebody else replied, that's not cool. She's part of the family, right? Then she said, family doesn't do things like that. What I'm feeling doesn't fit words. She is such a weasel. Trisha Paytas then took to their TikTok to basically drag Donna for everything it is that she said.
Donna, Klein, Ethan's mom, I'm so sick of this bullshit. I'm so sick of this bullshit. Can't wait to go to her wedding night. And you were taking off the invite the minute you sent Moses that text. They all know what that text was. On the last episode of Frenemies, which we also recorded as well. Everyone was recording it. I brought that up. I said, why would your mom text the most vile, disgusting? I can't even speak it right now. I cannot speak it right now because she put blame and the weight of something so heavy on me that I have to wait this out now with it because of her. She's a vile scum. I cannot repeat. I can't even put out what she said. And when I asked Ethan, I'm like, your mom texted this? Like that's something that's like the nastiest thing I've ever heard from anybody. And he's like, well, I told her not to text that. It's disgusting. What she placed on me is evil. It's downright evil. I bit my tongue when she talked about me and compared me to Gabby. I bit it. But she put a burden on me that I will not talk about for a few months, but it's the most disgusting shit. Blaming me for the most vile shit. Ethan sent a hate mob on my sister for making a TikTok that she deleted within an hour. What Ethan's mom texted Moses about me, putting this burden on me that if anything were to happen, it's on me, putting that is an evil monster shit. The fact that she even texted, I can't even speak it, because the fact that she even texted it and put that in writing was so vile and disgusting. I have never met a more evil, conniving bitch in my life. Never, to put that on me. You do not know me. You don't even know Moses like that. And then she has the audacity complaints that Moses didn't text her back. It was disgusting. Moses was shook, did not tell me about it for such a long time. And then once I heard, I've been carrying this. I've been sick to my stomach over this. I am just so terrified of this, of what she said. And I'm on eggshells. I won't even speak it right now because it's that disgusting. Do not get involved in my wedding that you were not invited to after that nasty, vile comment. Do not even talk about my relationship. Do not even talk about me because you weren't there. All of this stuff is between me and Ethan. If Ethan wants to talk to his family about this, it's fine. But it's not a personal matter. It's between me and Ethan lying, Ethan being a coward, Ethan being a hypocrite. I have admitted to being all of those and more. Ethan can't. And Donna chiming in on this after I would hide in embarrassment and shame after what she texted to Moses. And other people that Moses knows, she texted the same thing. It's vile. It's the sickest thing a human could ever say about somebody. And to even speak that, to even text it, what she texted into existence is so disgusting. And it shakes me to the core. It makes me sick. You're not invited to the wedding because of everything that's been done on the internet. I mean, even including your own son, Ethan, who said some of the sickest shit about people. What you said is the sickest I've ever seen. It's disgusting, disgusting behavior. Ethan keeps complaining, oh, Trisha can't stop talking about me. A week ago, you put me in the title and the thumbnail. On Frenemies, you did a whole episode, Trisha Paytas for Gabby Hanna, when you know she triggers me, comparing me, saying I'm the same person, that they were the same person, that I'm a liar. Show me a lie. Oh, that's right, I caught you in the lies on the last Frenemies. Dad talking about my weight and you laughing at it and shit. That is some fucked up shit. My sister went into hiding after you bullied her on your platform. You are a bully. I don't believe in deplatformers. I don't believe in strikes, but you are a bully and you harass people saying, do not act like you are above, high and mighty. And that goes for your mom. Don't act like you guys are above, high and mighty, that you can't be touched. You're putting stuff on the internet. You're still talking about me. I'm allowed to do the same. It wasn't personal, but you're making it personal. Bringing my wedding, bringing all this shit. It's vile. The stuff she said is vile. Nothing I did, nothing anyone did has warranted that kind of burden, that kind of weight on somebody. You are the biggest hypocrite. You can talk about everyone you want, but the minute no one else can talk about you.
Keemstar, true to form, took to his social media and started gloating in the whole entire situation. Almost pleased with himself for breaking up a happy family, I guess. Not that they needed much breaking up. However, people started realizing that Trisha was pretty much used as a pawn in Keemstar's sick little game. So the next day, Trisha Paytas took to their YouTube channel to tell their side. Again.
First of all, my Instagram is just all snake emojis. So childish, all snake emojis. Because not only did Ethan tweet, but he also TikToked. I'm just sad. Playing a victim card as if me going on a podcast, which he hasn't even heard, is a personal attack on him. As if me, Trisha Paytas, who's been around since 2006 on YouTube, going on podcast after podcast, this is what I do. This is how I've always expanded what I do. I do it for the drama. I do it for the discussion. I do it for me and Keemstar, we had our own issue. I'm the one who made the initial video. I'm the one that gave criticisms from my own trauma about his relationship. Ethan inserted himself by putting me in the thumbnail and title. If he wants this to be done, then leave me out of it too.
Then, after all of the drama that went down, Keemstar revealed his Uno reverse card. He's invited Gabby Hanna onto the Mom's Basement podcast as well. And there is no doubt in my mind that this was used as a jab at Trisha Paytas. Now, my thoughts on this whole entire situation is pretty controversial. The Mom's Basement podcast isn't actually going to be going out until later on this evening. So honestly, nobody's going to know what it is that Trisha has said until it's released. So I feel like a lot of people are being very quick to judge. I also believe that Trisha is correct. The way that they met Ethan Klein was literally because Ethan Klein said some horrible things about them. Ethan Klein compared their physique to a WWE wrestler. And obviously, as we know that Trisha Paytas now identifies as non-binary, I have no doubt that that probably probably contributed to their body dysmorphia. So confronting people on podcasts isn't something unusual to Trisha Paytas. Like they said, they did exactly the same thing with Gabbie Hanna going on to Gabbie Hanna's Burnout podcast. They also did the same by going on to Tana Moja's Cancelled podcast, because as we all know, there was a little bit of beef between Trisha Paytas and Tana Moja due to the inappropriate behaviour of Jason Nash. So I was pretty much on Trisha Paytas' side in all of this until an old tweet resurfaced where Trisha Paytas basically said that they would never stoop as low to grab for attention by appearing on Keemstar's show. And I know a lot of people are going to turn around and say, well, at the end of the day, Trisha Paytas was only referencing Drama Alert, not Mom's Basement. But honestly, if they felt so disgusted by Keemstar, it pretty much goes against everything it is that they've ever said. But beyond all of this, on a previous episode of Enemies podcast, Trisha reiterates this point again.
And at the end of the day, I always will have like Ethan's back. Like the idea of even going on like Drama Alert, I was just like, you know, because like regardless, like we're gonna have to see each other, right? Like I have a wedding coming up, like I hope they come, all stuff like that. Like we have to see each other eventually. So I'm not trying to like. Also, ew, Drama Alert trash. Like I'm not that bad. Like,
and then I'm supposed to believe it only takes 2 episodes later for Trisha to change their mind. So to me, whether Trisha really truly believes if there's any malice behind this is neither here nor there. I truly believe that even subconsciously, Trisha Paytas wanted to give one more dig at Ethan. And they thought that Keemstar was going to be the avenue to give that dig, when Keemstar was actually the person with the Uno reverse card, making all the digs at Ethan himself. But tell me what it is that you guys think and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Next up, we're going to be talking about the other person who's going to appear on Mom's Basement, which is Gabbie Hanna, and the video that Alex James made about her. So let's get into it. So, almost a week ago, Alex James made a video about Gabbie Hanna, and it was titled Gabbie Jeanette Hanna, You Tried It, Part 1 of ... This video was in response to Jessie Smiles and Alex James Can't Stop Lying that Gabbie Hanna posted to her YouTube channel. Now, in my last Gabbie Hanna video, I stated to you guys that I was actually unsure of how Alex James was going to approach this situation, considering that Jessie Smiles has stated that she wants this situation left alone. And if she doesn't want to talk about it, I wouldn't imagine that she would want her friends to talk about it either. But Alex James kept it classy, well, as classy as this Southerner can keep it, and kept it all about the situation at hand and the problem he has with Gabbie Hanna, which is that Gabbie Hanna said that she was physically assaulted by him.
You have now claimed, Gabbie, that I have physically harmed you. And how she decides to announce this accusation is just a pop-up.
Alex and I drove together and he was like, come stay with me. And he's like hurt me before, dude. For real. So anyways.
You think you're just gonna pop that up on a screen that I'm not gonna address that?
He also goes to point out that it seems to be everybody else who has a problem with Gabbie Hanna, and not that Gabbie Hanna herself seems to be the problem. At least that's the way that Gabbie Hanna likes to view it. He also brings up the fact that Gabbie Hanna kept saying over and over again in her video, or her numerous videos on the situation, that Jessie Smiles seemed to have forgiven Alex James, but not have forgiven Gabbie Hanna for doing exactly the same thing, by quote-unquote hanging out with Jessie Smiles' abuser. Alex James then goes on to state that their situations are entirely different, because after he realised what it was that he had done and the impact that that had on Jessie, he dedicated himself to being a better friend to her. Whereas Gabbie can't say the same, especially appearing on Mom's Basement, which is hosted by Keemstar, who has openly and flagrantly said across social media that he denies the situation even occurred in the way that it was depicted by Jessie Smiles, despite there being a public acknowledgement by Curtis Lepore, as well as in pleading guilty, but I guess we don't listen to the judicial system at all. But regardless of all that, Gabbie Hanna doesn't seem to care. In fact, she's just so happy that she was able to get this information out there.
I cannot express to you, as I'm playing with my cats, how happy I am to finally have that video out. It's been so annoying having to give a and like that's why it's taken me so long to get it out, because I don't care anymore, but like still had to get it out because I wanted to really never care again. You know what I mean? So, oh yes, girl! Yes! Anyway, I'm happy the video is finally out.
In this video, Alex James then goes out to read a bunch of different personality traits, and one of my researchers were able to find out the actual list of which he found online, and that list is the signs of a Jezebel. Now, me being the dumb bitch that I am, I have no idea what a Jezebel is, so I had to search on Google. And according to Google, the definition of a Jezebel is a shameless or wicked woman, a woman who is regarded as evil and scheming. I mean, he was coming for her throat, sis. And upon further research, I found out that Jezebel is actually a biblical term, and basically this was a woman who was like the bad girl of the Bible. She was an ancient queen who was denounced as a murderer, a prostitute, and the enemy of God. Sis wasn't just hated, she was hated by even God himself. Girl, do you know how bad you have to be the enemy of God? He forgives us of all of our sins. But according to the Bible, that was because of all of her own wrongdoings. And that's basically what Alex James is trying to say. You're a Jezebel, queen. You are the problem, and that's why nobody likes you. Anyway, surprisingly, Gabby Hanna has actually remained pretty chill and not said anything about Alex James's video, not even tried to provide receipts or respond or retort to the allegations that she made against him, saying that he physically assaulted her. But she has found herself in a bit of a weird situation. So shortly after this video had been released, Gabby Hanna started randomly doing live streams on her channel. And one of the days that she was doing a live stream, she heard an intruder. She freaked out, called the police, and promptly ended her live.
And then just again, it hit 666 and I said it out loud and and it's August 6th. There's somebody on my doorstep. I'm dead serious.
LA City 911, operator 930.
I'm sorry, one second. Hold on, I have to end a live stream because I'm about to give my address.
A lot of people were scared for the well-being of Gabby Hanna, so Gabby Hanna did go over to Twitter and post a note basically saying everything's okay. There was in fact an intruder and that she wasn't going to be staying at her home at this present moment. Now, a lot of people on social media were denying that this even took place because prior to her saying that somebody was intruding into her property, she had noticed that the live had got to the number 666, and then straight after that, she started getting a phone call from an unknown number, and a lot of people felt that it was staged. Now, I very much hope that Gabby Hanna would not stage something like this, and I honestly don't know who would have thought otherwise, but showing up to YouTubers' houses in general just is not appropriate. Whether it's to pop by and say hello or just to be mean, like, don't do it. However, since this situation, we have not heard any further updates as to what's happened or what happened with the intruder, if the intruder was caught or anything like that. Maybe she wants to keep it private to protect her privacy further, so who knows whether we'll find out what actually happened with that situation. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get an update when she appears on Mom's Basement. Anyway, that is about it for me and for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's full cup episode. I'm sorry it's a long one, but I had a lot to say today. And don't forget, if you like this video, give this video a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, I don't give a shit anyway. Don't forget to subscribe and to hit that notification with the bell so that you guys get a notification every single time that Petty Paige posts new content. Also, don't forget, I Twitch stream 2 days a week. I'll be streaming tomorrow evening, as well as my shop, Dramatic Boutique. Go over there. We have a 2-for-1 offer on all of our lashes until September 4th. I also have a vlog channel that I am putting a lot of time and energy into, so much so that we finally got monetized. So definitely go and check out my vlog channel where I talk about parenting, life, relationships, sex, all of that good stuff. And with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day or evening wherever the hell you are. And until next time, time, you beautiful, amazing, badass bitches. It's been Paige. Bye.
So these bitches is petty. Once upon a time,